right, people. I'm pretty sure we all saw that 4 minute clip of the hour-long phone call between Trump and Georgia Secretary of State Raffensperger, and people are mainly Trump-hating liberals are losing their freaking mind, and mainstream media refuses to do their job right. So now it's up to independent people who has to tell, yo, this is not how this went down. If you had listened to the hour-long clip, you would hear that it was Trump's team, it was Trump's legal team, it was Raffensperger, and it was Raffensperger's legal team. But freaking Raffensperger put out this 4 minute clip to try to hurt President Trump. But what he actually did was just hurt himself, because everybody is determined that this is what happened with a 4 minute clip. I literally had this clip came out. I literally had family members call me out saying, how could you support this? There's no evidence. Well, and I wasn't really gonna do a video about this because, you know, I've heard this before. Not the hour clip, but you know, Trump his team bringing this forward. So now I ain't gonna lie, I ain't really watch the out clip because the first 20 minutes I heard it before, but now apparently it's more to it. So we're gonna go into more detail about it. So we're gonna watch this clip from Tracy Beans on Twitter. And if you don't follow Tracy Beans on Twitter, you know you really should. She brings up a lot of good points. So we're gonna watch this, and we're gonna see what actually transpired.
I have sounds now. I think you guys can hear me anyway. This is the problem with only having one screen, so I can't see the chat. I don't want to waste anyone's time. I'm just gonna get right back into this and tell you what I've been talking about for the past 10 minutes to nobody. So true. This is the deal. The Washington Post came out today. President Trump on the 2nd, which was yesterday, took his team, Cleta Mitchell, Mark Meadows, a bunch of other folks, and called the Secretary of State in Georgia to give them one last chance to do the right thing here before apparently a very bombshell tape is dropped. And this is what's in this transcript. Initially, the Washington Post did not release the entire transcript. They did their own smear machine and released parts of it, and then later on went back and released the entire call, which was an hour long, and this transcript. And you can tell it's like a good guy, bad guy sort of conversation with Cleta Mitchell and the president bouncing off one another. And President Trump says some really interesting things in this transcript. It is linked in the description box below for you. I want to try and find really quickly my chat window, which was here, so I can just see.
What the heck is a cover screen?
What you guys are saying. There you are. Okay, so I know this looks weird, but this is the only way I can have the chat up right now. So I think everyone can hear me, right? Okay. There is nothing bad about this. He's literally giving them their last chance. And if you guys remember, when they released that video, the ballots under the tables, they identified who the woman was in charge of all that. It went viral on social media. The Washington Post has removed her name from this transcript. But if I had my druthers about me, I would say that she's probably talking with the president and his team right now. That's an assumption on my part. I have no information to indicate whether or not that's the case, other than this transcript. But let's talk about it, shall we?
Let's.
Here we go. Trump says this. We're so far ahead. We're so far ahead of these numbers. Even the phony ballots of blank. Known scammer. You know the internet? You know what was trending on the internet? Where's blank? Question mark. Because they thought she'd be in jail. Where's blank? It's crazy. It's crazy. That was the minimum number is 18,000 for blank woman. but they think it's probably around 56,000. But the minimum number is 18,000 on the blank night, where she ran back in there when everyone was gone and she stuffed the ballot boxes. Let's face it, Brad, I mean, they did it in slow motion replay magnified, right? She stuffed the ballot boxes. They were stuffed like no one had ever seen them stuffed before. So there's a term for it when it's a machine instead of a ballot box, but she stuffed the machine. She stuffed, each ballot went in 3 times. They were showing, here's ballot number 1, here it is a second time, third time, next ballot. I mean, look, Brad, we have a new tape that we're going to release. It's devastating. And by the way, that one event is much more than the 11,000 votes that we're talking about. It's a disaster. And it was something. It can't be disputed. And again, we have a version that you haven't seen, but it's magnified. It's magnified and you can see everything. For some reason, they put it in 3 times, each ballot, and I don't know why. I don't know why 3 times. Why not 5 times, right? Go ahead. Raffensperger, you're talking about the State Farm video, and I think it's extremely unfortunate that Rudy Giuliani or his people, they sliced and diced that video and took it out of context. The next day we brought in WSB TV and we let them see the full run of the tape, and what you'll see, the events that transpired are nowhere near what was projected by, Trump says, but where were the poll watchers? There were no poll watchers there. There were no Democrats or Republicans. There was no security. It was late in the evening, early in the morning, and there was no one else in the room. Where were the poll watchers, and why did they say a water main broke, which they did and which was reported in the papers? They said they left and they ran out because of a water main break, and there was no water main. There was nothing. No break. No water main break. But if you take out everything, where were the Republican poll watchers? Even where were the Democrat poll watchers? Because there were none. And then you say, well, they left their station, and if you look at the tape, and this was reviewed by professional police and detectives and other people, when they left in a rush, everyone left in a rush because of the water main, but everyone left in a rush. These people left their station. When they came back, they didn't go to their station. They went to the apron wrapped around the table, under which there were thousands and thousands of ballots in a box that was not an official or sealed box, and they took those. They went back to a different station. So if they would have come back, they would have walked to their station and continued to work. But they couldn't do even that because that's illegal because they had no poll watchers. And remember her reputation. She's known all over the internet, Brad. She's known all over. I'm telling you, where's blank was one of the hot items. Blank. They knew her. Where's blank? So, Brad, there's no justification. And I give everyone the benefit of the doubt. And why did they put the votes in 3 times? They put them in 3 times. Raffensperger says we did an audit and we proved conclusively they were not scanned 3 times. He's just lying. We all saw it. We're not idiots. Where was everyone else at that late time in the morning? Where was everybody, says Trump? Where were the Republicans? Where were the security guards? Where were the people that were just there a little while before when everyone ran into the room? How come we had no security there? Why did they run to the bottom of the table? Why did they run there and open up the skirt and rip out the votes? I mean, Brad, they were sitting there for 5 hours like that, the votes. Mr. President, we'll send you the link from WSB. I don't care about the link. I don't need it. I have a much better... He's interrupted by Cleta Mitchell. Cleta Mitchell, let me just make sure all is still good here. Okay. It was Ruby Freeman and her daughter with the braids. That's exactly right. Okay. Mitchell says, I'll tell you, I've seen the full tape, so has Alex, we've watched it, and what we saw and we've confirmed in the timing is that they made everyone leave, we have sworn affidavits, and then they began to process ballots, and our estimate is that there were roughly 18,000 ballots. Now, here's where it gets interesting. She is trying throughout this entire conversation to get Brad Raffensperger to give them information. I think they know they're not getting it from him. I think this is one last attempt to have them try to do the right thing. He's giving them information to let them know they're absolutely screwed. He's telling them what they've got. He's saying it's coming. I have zero qualms about, I have no doubt that President Trump knew that he was being recorded when he was talking to these folks. And there was a chance the call would be leaked. This is a set-up call. I mean, it's very clear. Cleta Mitchell's playing good guy, saying, Brad, if you've got this data, you should give it to us. We've been asking. President Trump is saying, why are we got to go through the courts for? We've got it right here. I'm telling you, if you read through this transcript, you'll understand. But Trump says It was 18,000 ballots. They used each one 3 times. Cleta Mitchell says, well, I don't know about that. And Trump says, I do, because we had ours magnified out. I've watched the entire tape. And then Trump says, nobody can make a case for that. Nobody. You'd have to be a child to think anything other than that. And then Cleta Mitchell is saying to him, how many ballots, Mr. Secretary, are you saying were processed then? And he says, we had GBI investigate that. And then someone else jumps in and says, we had our law enforcement officers talk to everyone who was there after that event came to light. GBI was with them as well as federal agents.
That's a lot.
FBI agents. And Trump says, well, then they're either dishonest or incompetent. And they know because they have the tape. This is the thing. And then Trump says there's 2 answers, dishonesty or incompetence. There's just no way. And the other thing, there's no way. There's no way these things could have been, you have all these people that voted but don't live in Georgia anymore. What was the number? That was a pretty good number too. The number who have registered out of state after they moved from Georgia, and so they have a date when they moved from Georgia, they registered to vote out of state, and then it's like 4,500 or so that came back in and voted. The Georgia team is going back and forth with them saying, well, we've investigated that and we found it to be false. And then Cleta Mitchell is saying, we're looking, if you have additional records, we've been asking for that, but you haven't shared any of that with us. You just keep saying you investigated the allegations. In other words, you're saying you investigated the allegations, but you won't give us any of the information you're using. If it's different than what we're using, fine, show it to us. They won't. Trump pops back in again. A lot of it you don't need to be shared. I mean, to be honest, they should share. They should share because you want to get to an honest election. I won this election by hundreds of thousands of votes. There is no way I lost Georgia. There's no way. We won by hundreds of thousands of votes. I'm just going by small numbers, but when you add them up, they're many times the 11,000. But I won that state by hundreds of thousands of votes. Do you think it's possible that they shredded the ballots in Fulton County? Because that's what the rumor is. Also, Dominion took out machines. That Dominion is really moving fast to get rid of their machinery. Do you know anything about that? Because that's illegal, right? Germany says, no, Dominion has not moved any machines out of Fulton County. Trump, but have they moved the inner parts of the machines and replaced them with other parts? No. Are you sure, Ryan? Are you sure? Are you sure? That's what you say to someone when you've got evidence to the contrary. He says, I'm sure, Mr. President. Mm-hmm. Trump says, what about the ballots, the shredding of the ballots? Have they been shredding ballots? And Germany says, the only investigation we have into that, they haven't been shredding ballots. There was an issue in Cobb County where they were doing normal office shredding, getting rid of old stuff, and we investigated that. But this stuff, you know, from past elections, Trump says doesn't pass the smell test because we hear they're shredding thousands and thousands of ballots. And now they're saying, oh, we're just cleaning up the office. Yeah. Then Raffensperger says, the big problem you have with social media, people can say anything. Trump says, this isn't social media, this is Trump media. It's not social media. It's really not if it's social media. I don't care about that. I could care less. It's big tech. Big tech is on your side. And I don't even know why you have a side, because you should want to have an accurate election, and you're a Republican.
Right.
Raffensperger says, we believe we do have an accurate election. Trump says, no, you don't. No, you don't. You don't have. Not even close. You're off by hundreds of thousands of votes, and just on the small numbers, you're off on these numbers, and these numbers can't be just... Okay, so you sent us to Cobb County for signature verification. You sent us to Cobb County, which we didn't even want to go into, and you said it'd be open to the public. So we had our experts there, and they weren't allowed in the room. But we didn't even want Cobb County. We wanted Fulton, and you wouldn't give it to us. Now, why aren't we doing signature, and why can't it be open to the public? And why can't we have professionals do it instead of rank amateurs who'll never find anything and don't want to find anything? They don't want to find anything. Someday you'll tell me the reason why, because I don't understand your reasoning, but someday you'll tell me why. But why don't you want to find? And then he tries to tell him why he chose Cobb County. He gets interrupted, and he says, why did you choose Cobb? We didn't even request it. We requested Fulton. Go ahead. Germany says, we chose it because that was the only county where there's been any evidence submitted that the signature verification was not properly done. Trump says, but I told you we're not saying that. Then he starts talking about Stacey. She's outplayed you. She got you to sign a totally unconstitutional agreement, which is disastrous. You can't check the signatures. I can't imagine you're allowed to do harvesting. It's a disaster. I hate to imagine what's going to happen on Monday or Tuesday, but it's scary to people. When the ballots flow in out of nowhere, it's scary. Then they go on and on about a consent decree. He says if we go through signature verification, we'll find hundreds of thousands of signatures. but you didn't do that. You just looked at one page compared to the other. The only way you can do signature verification is to go from the one that signed it and compare it to older signatures, is what he's basically saying. He's saying that they have more than the 11,779, and he says they're going around playing you and laughing at you behind your back, Brad. Whether you know it or not, they're laughing at you. And you've taken a state that's a Republican state, and you've made it almost impossible for a Republican to win because of cheating, because they cheated like nobody's ever cheated before. And I don't care how long it takes me, you know, we're going to have other states coming forward pretty good.
Okay, guys. So that was about 13 minutes right there. So we all heard what the Washington Post failed to actually mention in that phone call, right? So the Washington Post only put out a 4-minute clip trying to get Trump to say he's doing something unconstitutional, trying to make Raffensperger and his team into victims when he's not the victim in the situation, because he's the one who leaked this in the first place. So he's not a victim. And like I said, this whole phone call they had was 1 hour. They only released 4 minutes. You cannot get a verdict off of a 4-minute clip from a 1 hour phone call. That's not how it works. Especially if you're trying to bring it to the court of law. If you have a one hour clip trying proving your innocence, and this one person releases 4 minutes to try to prove you guilty, the court would take that 1 hour phone call, not the 4 minute clip, because that's not how it works. Especially if you're trying to prove a case. And in Raffensperger's case, he screwed up big time. How can you say this is what happened with Trump in that entire phone call, and you didn't release any other things that the Trump team has said? So Raffensperger and Democrats, you got freaking Pelosi, AOC coming out here defending Raffensperger, saying Trump should be impeached for this. Again, impeach Trump over a phone call. So who is really crazy here that you want to impeach Trump for a phone call yet again? You guys tried this last time and you lost. So best believe he's going to bring this on January 5th or January 6th. He said today in Florida and Dalton, Georgia, which is like 2 hours where I live. I really wish I can go, but I got bills to pay, people. You know how it is. So yeah, why am I doing a better job at showing this than the mainstream media, the Washington Post? Because right now the Washington Post is getting a lot of backlash for this as well. I'm doing a better job at getting this out than they are. Trash, people, just straight trash. Mainstream media has just become straight liberal trash, man. They cannot face the truth. Is that if Trump does have evidence, why won't they hear it? Hey, it's just trying to be a dead horse, people. It really is. If you guys like what I'm saying, like, comment, subscribe. Are you with Trump with this phone call, or are you against him? It's your choice, people. It's really your choice. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video, get the message out. I'll see y'all next one. Peace.